The Harris campaign says it's working to make sure black voters feel seen and heard. This week, the vice president released an opportunity economy agenda for black men and hosted a series of events designed to reach black audiences. And as part of those efforts, the DNC held a Souls to the Polls call yesterday, highlighting the stakes of this election for black voters.
In Donald Trump, we have an extreme self-centered candidate who has unprecedented level of disdain for democracy and our Constitution. Let's not forget, this is who Trump has always been, a man willing to hurt others for his own profit and notoriety, including the black community.
We're pleased to welcome to the table Democratic National Committee Chair Jamie Harrison, and Kimberly Atkins-Stohr is back with us.
Mr. Chairman, you are not with us because you are out on the road. Tell us what you're seeing and hearing and your take on the vice president's very targeted strategy this past week, speaking directly to a large swath of black voters.
Well, Simone, it's good to see all of you all this morning, and I'm actually just getting off the road, heading back on the road tomorrow, going to North Carolina. But I was with Governor Shapiro, Whitmer, and Evers on a Blue Wall tour. These governors of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, who are out there on the trail making sure that we win those blue states. And you know, I'm proud of the work that we see right now coming from the vice president and Governor Tim Walz, because they're everywhere. You know, watching the VP right now is like watching Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals. She's hitting every shot. I mean, we saw her this week in the interview she did this week. We saw her handle hecklers at her recent event. I mean, she is in a zone right now that none like I've ever seen in a politician in a very, very long time. And so what it is that we got to do our part as the role players on this championship team. We got to pull down the extra rebounds, get the assists, make sure she has a ball in her hand, because she's going to shoot it and it's going to go in. But we got to do our part, and that's what we're doing right now. We're reaching out to voters everywhere where they are. She's talking to voters in every medium that she can, because the stakes in this election are extremely high.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank you for making sure that your sports metaphor of choice was basketball, given that it is the only sport I actually understand and thus was able to follow. Interesting to me, the outreach that's happening to black voters, the outreach that's happening to Latino voters. We saw ads cut this week, one from Officer Gonell talking about what happened on January 6th that was targeted to Latino voters. We saw an ad from Mark Anthony. I think sometimes we forget that the policy is important. I'm a policy wonk. I love the policy. The bigger point, though, is to show the effort, right? To have the headline that says, we are prioritizing your vote. That is the view from the campaign. Explain to us how the DNC is then backing up those efforts.
That's it. It's right on point. Listen, the thing that I tell our staff at the DNC all the time, that everything that we do, every message that we put out needs to have heartbeat. Because in the end of the day, I know that a lot of Democrats are policy wonk, but the everyday people who are just trying to make ends meet, you got to speak to their hearts and their guts. You got to speak, you got to connect with them on a human level. And so what we are doing at the DNC is making sure that those messages are targeted. To speak about how these policies will impact you and your family and your community. What does it mean? What does it mean to fight for freedom and democracy? How does that translate? So one of the things that I'll give you a perfect example. Donald Trump just talked about eliminating the Department of Education.
Yep.
And we can talk about the policy implications of that, but what does that mean in real life? That means that the department at the Department of Education that focuses on disabilities. All of the protections that many of us have for our kids who have disabilities, those who are autistic or have special needs, those things go away. The Head Start program, they go away. And how that impacts the communities that desperately need those resources are really, really important. And so we're having those micro level conversations with the American people in the communities so that they understand the impact that these policies and what Donald Trump is trying to do, how that will impact them and their families.
Kimberly, there's a lot that's been made of this opportunity economy, the various components of it, with respect to specifically for black men in the black community, providing million loans that are fully forgivable to black entrepreneurs, championing education, training, supporting a regulatory framework, launching a national health equity initiative, which really is important because even Obamacare did not address the extent of the healthcare disparities in the black community.
Yeah.
You've got polling that shows the choice for president among likely black voters in swing states: Harris 84%, Trump 8%, and undecided 8%. What's important to note about that, Harris a month ago was at 82, Trump at 12.
Yeah.
Now you can see some of the shifting, but she shouldn't be at 84%.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's very interesting in that this campaign season, and actually the past couple campaign seasons, one of the biggest issues has focused on abortion rights, reproductive access, and it's focused very strongly on women. And you've seen that play a difference for women across the board, including black women. And I think what has happened is you saw black voters who didn't see a message, black men, a message directed to them. Now, of course, reproductive rights is a men's rights issue too, but they didn't see that same thing. And I think that's why it's smart to go into entrepreneurship, business, trying to housing affordability. These are all things that men care about. Education, that's a big issue for them. The Department of Education is also in charge of financing for college and higher education. When someone writes their student loans, they write that check to the Department of Education. So this is something that needs to pivot. I think what was said by the chairman was really important, is that black men need to see themselves, Latino men need to see themselves in the message that the candidates are giving. And what Donald Trump is giving is just insulting these two populations and then calling them stupid for voting Democratic. That's not a message. I think Harris is putting forth something. Perhaps I would have wished it would have been more of that a little earlier, but that is something that she is doing now.